Good morning and welcome to today's live stream. Today we're going to be getting a little bit of data being the JOLTS job openings that will come out in about 40 minutes from right now, aka 30 minutes after the open. We do notice that we do have some interesting signals going on across the board, and it just seems like with the low volume that this market might be getting a little too excited, a little too fast, and this is where a big problem is there that I want to talk about. And so we're going to talk about that as some more people get in, maybe as the market opens. Let's just make sure as we're coming in to like the video. That way we can get more people interested in learning about some technical analysis. We're going to be paying attention to some daily expected moves for the day, and we do have 606.90 to the upside, and we do have 636 to the downside. Once again, not the biggest amount of implied volatility. This is pretty much regular at this point. This is what you'll see most of the time with the SPY is a range about that big for the day, but for the week it seems a little bit smaller. We can notice that the Qs, we do have daily expected moves as well. We do notice that the Qs are getting a little too excited, and something very, very good for the Qs to actually head higher and maybe hit a weekly expected move would be a pullback today that then gets to reconnect with all these moving averages, and then we end up seeing some kind of turnaround. So this is something I will be looking for in the near future. We'll see if that sets up. The reason that we're looking for a lot of weakness in these areas, I know this is a bullish market, but we just want to pay attention to what's going on a little bit deeper, and that would be the weekly scale, right? We still want to pay attention to the fact that anywhere that we see weakness in this overall move can be a big problem, a very big problem, because you're moving up into the top of your channel. We can still see maybe a top of that touch of that channel. You can see how the monthly does connect with that channel a little bit well there at 530.48. So, but the big reason we're doing this is because of this. The Q's really showing that downside for the divergence here, the negative divergence that goes all the way across, and now it's significant. So this is an opportunity, if we see weakness, for there to be some kind of problem happen. You'll also see that in the SPY, and when you see it on a big stock like Nvidia, you might want to be paying attention, and that is confirming down right now. Nvidia very likely to get a lower high here, so just pay attention, and you're probably seeing it, right? We mentioned it way over here. We started mentioning it here when we saw a 30-minute divergence. Hey, watch out for Nvidia to come down to these levels, maybe break down to a daily or a weekly expected move, and that's exactly what happened. We actually broke through it and touched the perfect level to create a neckline and then get that right shoulder, and now you're going to hear as it starts to hit these levels, that's when people usually talk about it. I like to talk about things well in advance, right? I like to try to say, hey, this 30-minute signal, what could happen from that? Well, we could react down to this level. Where would we catch a bounce? Most likely somewhere in this block down here by 135, and then we could see a right shoulder form. So we're paying attention to that because the 2-hour on the MACD is so negative, and it has not turned up into positive territory yet. It has turned up, but it has not gone positive, so we're looking for weakness above. I would say 140-112 would make the most sense, but pretty much any time that wants to rotate down, you can see the structure, and now you're going to see people start to talk about it. If that is not going to happen, then you're not going to see little divergences here. You're not going to see the 2-hour be able to turn down. You are going to see a prolonged move like this and most likely consolidate before breaking through key resistance, and you'll have a head and shoulders the other way. We are mentioning this before it sets up. This would be your overall bullish case in my opinion, and then we want to watch out up in these areas, but this is how I see it going forward. I think it is a time to pay attention because those weeklies do not look necessarily good. We've actually had some stocks actually confirm the weekly divergence last week, so we have to be paying attention. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about was the overall correction. Now that we've been on for about 4 minutes here, let's talk about that overall correction that could take place. And we've talked about that for a little bit of time, right? We've been saying pretty much since these levels, hey, we could correct. Kind of a correction right there, kind of like a very, very quick one. Not necessarily a correction, I guess, more of a pullback, pullback, pullback. We keep experiencing these 2.5% pullbacks without getting the corrective move. And the longer that we do not get that corrective move, I was really thinking about this morning and going over charts for about an hour this morning, just really looking at it and being like, okay, if we're not going to correct like this week, if we're not going to start that correction, we just keep going higher, I would be very, very worried for December, because we are going up way too fast here at this point. If we're not able to correct in some way, if this thing keeps doing these little tiny pullbacks, these even 2% pullbacks, and then ends up going higher, you're just asking for a bad thing in December, honestly. So I think we need that corrective move very soon, and data can really help us out with getting that. We can pay attention to the signals and see, even on the 30-minute, we don't necessarily have the best ones, right? You have that squeezing behavior, a little negative divergence on the RSI, and you're holding it for the MACD, but you don't see it across the way for both at the same time, and that's a big problem. It means this would be more so the look that would send stocks a little bit downward. This would be more of your trap scenario, unless this is just some kind of trap right now and you curled down the 2-hour for the SPY, you curled down the 2-hour for the Qs as they have now gone to a divergence point. I think that is something that I would really be paying attention to for this market. But this would have to be a very quick correction if we're going to get it, but more so, it would have to start sometime this week. It would really have to start sometime this week. And I'm not talking about something that's overly bearish. I'm saying if you want a corrective move and you don't want to go through something overly bearish, well, then you probably want to start to correct very soon. And maybe that's going to happen towards the end of this week, and we'll see some kind of little corrective move to go back down, maybe even test a monthly expected move down in these areas, get back in this buy zone and see what happens. If that'll even be that much of a correction at that point, we'll see. But that's what we're paying attention to. I'm a little bit more, after looking at charts this morning, I'm a little bit more like, oh God, we just keep holding at higher levels. So that's going to be a big problem. We notice that as the market is starting to open, we're getting a little bit of downside to start off. So we're going to see that open up in about 5 minutes, and then we'll see what's happening going forward. What stocks you guys got for me? I'm looking at the VIX. Yeah, VIX, very interesting because it's confirmed the signal. Now, make sure, guys, this is very important. I know that you probably, come on, you're probably looking at my videos and you're going, hey, I pay attention to Apple, so I'm going to watch up until the Apple portion. I'm going to watch up until the Nvidia portion. I'm going to skip ahead to Nvidia. Make sure you stick around for the end of the video. We did display the VIX early on in this video last night. We most of the time talk about it a little bit towards the end. Volatility is something very good to pay attention to. And watching the whole video, Nvidia has given us a lot of hints, right? We've been like, oh, this looks bearish, this looks bearish, this looks bearish. But then look at Nvidia, it has a divergence on the 2-hour outside of a monthly expected move. That's happened 4 times, like in the last 5 months. And that's really helped us because every single one of those plays played out. We kind of call it our 100% rule right now because it's worked 4 for 4 over the last 5 months. And that's fantastic. So paying attention to Nvidia helped us with what was going on in the Qs, what was going to go on in the SPY. And paying attention to Nvidia really helped us out there. So that's why you want to watch most of the video, okay? Try to watch most of the video. At least watch the volatility portion at the end, because this can start a chain reaction. Now, has that chain reaction started? Technically, it hasn't, right? We need to see if this 2 hours turned up. Oh, 2-hour did reject. So now the next point of that chain reaction is going to be the 4-hour. Can the 4-hour turn up? Are we going to see volatility come in today? That's kind of the question here. Are we going to see volatility come in today? You have knocked over 2 of the dominoes. Now this is going to be the 3rd one. You've seen the 30-minute cross up with divergence. We've seen the 2-hour cross up and reject the crossing down to get down to 12.12. This crosses down and holds down here, doesn't see a reaction, right? We're most likely heading to 12.12 and you're going to keep squeezing. But because this is rejecting, now you have a good shot of this 4-hour turning up. And if all that happens, no more squeeze. We're probably seeing volatility come in very, very soon, as in maybe even today. So paying attention to volatility will really help you out. What does this mean? Well, we can see the opposite signal from the SPY. When do we pay attention to these signals? When they're on the SPY and volatility at the same time. You notice that, oop, uh-oh, they're at the same time. It's on the MACD, it's on the RSI. If we get that ugliness, we don't really have the biggest range. We can see something crazy. That's what we want to see. But if we need to form weakness, right? If we want to form real, I would say real obvious weakness on the 30-minute before that happens, then you might see, oh, something bad happened, reconnect with the 5, test that daily expected move and end up going back up. And then we see a divergence, which that would lead to the Qs making a divergence outside of a weekly expected move. If we can really carve this out, come down like this, start to turn back up, we would see that divergence set by the end of the week, and that's how you overall would form weakness here. But I want you to be aware if that 4 hour just curls down on the SPY, curls up on volatility, it's probably here. Green light to short Tesla. Well, Tesla's already confirming the signal, and this should make you worried for today. I just showed you all that stuff with volatility. We seriously talked about Tesla. I had to jump around a little bit. I didn't have time to fully go through every single stock and really, like, you know, I like to look at it for a few minutes before I talk about it. And I didn't have time to do that just because last week I donated a lot of my time to YouTube for you guys because that sale was ending. The sale is over as of right now. We'll look for that to come back maybe for Christmas. But we noticed that this could be a triple top. This could be some kind of consolidation to head higher. It almost looks like a cup and handle. This might have violated that a little bit. That's why I'm not going to call it right now, but it would be some kind of consolidation to head higher. But if that 2 hour crosses down, where is it, right? You guys are taking the course, right? You've taken the course now and you say, hey, where is this MACD, right? I need to ask myself that question all the time while trading. Where's the MACD at this stock I'm looking at? It's really close to that center line, right? Really close to that center line. So I would say this, if this crosses down on the 2 hour, you lose all those moving averages. Wouldn't that be a great way for the daily to keep turning down, right? That would be the daily closing back below the 9. Notice this, we're holding above it. So not necessarily the best time here, but we can see that if that would do that, okay, you're looking for the test. You're looking for the test of those moving averages. Maybe even you see something dramatic and go fill a gap way down here. I really like this price, this right here, where that gap support comes in. I really like that for a good pullback, because if you see this pull down pretty well, we're going to formulate something way into the future for Tesla since you asked about it. Look at this. If you want this to go to like 400, wouldn't it be great to really shake some people out, turn back up, and then end up seeing something like this? Left head, right shoulder, right? If I could use my imagination, I can start to really formulate a plan for a possibly good trade. This one right now might be a good trade for the 2 hour if that crosses and holds below the moving averages to get down to these type of areas. And that's why we have monthly expected moves, right, on Patreon. Patreon's going to be one of the most useful things, guys. You're only 3 days into the month, and you can right now get those monthly expected moves, look at a chart on a daily and say, does that thing need to pull back on the daily? Okay, where's it going to pull back to? Well, now you have a number for that. That's what Patreon is really, really useful for. It is well more worth than $7 a month. And I just actually put out a video on Patreon, a short one, just breaking down Ripple. Just really, you know, everyone trying to figure out, hey, can this head up? Can this head higher? Can this head lower? And we just went over that on Patreon this morning, right? We just did a simple little 4-minute video for that. So that's how I'd really look at it, though. If I have a monthly expected move and it's anywhere like here, and then we come all the way down to this level and we do this, and maybe in that move I see a little 2 hour divergence or something like that, hey, guess what? That's going to turn up. That's going to turn up the daily, and then we might consolidate if we're going to remain healthy and see a head and shoulders. Right? So having the monthly expected move allows me to really formulate my plan and then execute my plan around those levels if I see those signals. That's why I really like it. But yeah, 2 hour crosses down, not a good sign for this one here. Thank you so much for saying that, Maurice. Really appreciate it. And thank you guys for realizing I was reorganizing the weekly expected moves and the monthly expected moves, and some of those values got switched around. I think TLT was where Nvidia was supposed to be, and I just wanted to reorganize for you guys so you see like the indices first, then you see some of the other stocks that we're paying attention to, and then kind of the more memey ones are at the end. Yeah, so the NQ is going to be different a little bit, just a little bit, because the NQ, you notice it's not going to look the same. So for the NQ, and we'll talk about this a little bit. Don't remember. I think we have a crypto section in the course. I need to go through and make sure we do, because it's overall just talking about, hey, what do I need to do if I'm trading something that's just not regular market hours? I need to blow up the time frames. This is going to be more so like your 30-minute. This is going to be your 4 hour, right? Your 4 hour is going to be, sorry, your 4 hour is going to be more your 2 hour. So your 4 hour is what you're saying, okay, this could turn down. Now, the NQ looking a little bit high here. I'm guessing that daily's crossed up for a day or two. So this is more the signal I'd look for on this one. But the 4 hour can help you out in saying, okay, is that closer to the center line than the last big push? Yes. Okay, it's just not going to be the cleanest here because of the turn down, turn up. Very good turn up, though. And no divergence in the near price action. So you see how that could buy more time if that just went like this. So yeah, you want to blow up the time frames for this. A 2 hour divergence or something. This is pretty much a 30-minute, and you don't necessarily have that, right? You had it here, drop. You don't have that here. So this is where we're more talking about like the Qs, reacting down, reacting back up, and then setting a trap up here. Take out the stops and set a trap maybe, right? That's more the look that you're looking for from the NQ, which will be on the 2 hour, just so you're aware. We're going to go back over to the SPY on the 30-minute. This is regular trading hours, so we can go into a 30-minute. I'd really like to see a good little pullback. The VIX is up as well. Let's go check real quick. VIX, yeah, 0.92, not a massive reaction. DJT was actually negative to start the day. Remember, don't sleep on DJT. That thing could cross up on a daily MACD. That could be a simple swing trade. And this is also another thing. Will these things that look like they're gearing up for a good move, are they going to be able to do that? Well, there you go. There's AMC curling down, 2 hour facing straight down now. Gonna lose the 5 if this kind of completes, but this is the 30-minute signals that said, hey, a 2 hour pullback is very, very likely here. So just remember that these things do follow momentum, right? Until they don't. So that's kind of the scary part. But you'll notice here that this is showing 30-minute divergence all the way across. That completed, we start to confirm down, right? This is not, yeah, this is just pretty plain and simple there. It's kind of like what happened to Mara, right? Mara made the 2 hour signals, I think the 30-minute signals too, and dropped down. Now you had one more push up. That's why we know how to manage risk, manage trades. Wasn't here for long because of work. Hey, keep doing good at your job. You never have to apologize here, all right? You never have to feel bad for not showing up to the stream, right? We understand people have lives. But I do appreciate the sentiment, and we're happy to have you today. Any day you can join, we're going to be happy to have you. But we noticed the 2 hour divergence actually completing right here. This says that Mara is most likely to go through a daily pullback, right? A daily pullback. Notice we're just saying pullback, but that could be a little bit rigorous. We get down towards 1873 is where I'm really paying attention. Palantir actually making another upward move, able to curl up where? Off of the 5-day moving average. There you go. So this one proving to be a one that really does not want to go down. Really does not want to go down. All right, I'm just getting my stuff up real quick. Alrighty. But yeah, this one really doesn't want to fall, and that's why these 30 minutes have been really tough. And you notice the 2 hours, what we were paying attention to, and that's curling right back up. So we're still riding the 5. This could be a reason to manage a trade. Maybe you have a weekly expected move. We do have weekly expected moves for Palantir in the description. And we get data in 24 minutes. I'm kind of looking at the opposite thing. I'm still looking for the calls on volatility. Already have my first position, looking for that 4 hour to confirm, and then I'll take possibly even another one. Just load, it's not reloading. Yeah, volatility calls are starting to go up a little bit here. One thing we were paying attention to in last night's video was TLT. Let's see, now TLT, notice that this is still above the 5. Notice that we will get data in about 23 minutes. So that just tells us, hey, which way could TLT go? It's going to be dictated by that data most likely. Nvidia is still looking for the lower high on the 2 hour angel beats. Yeah, we're still looking for that, and something that could form here, right? This could form very quickly. This could not form at all. right? We're just paying attention to the scenario of, can this make a move higher, or is this going to create a divergence here, a small one, or are we going to keep pulling back and then create that divergence later on? I still think it's kind of likely to make the divergence later on for Nvidia, but as the 2 hour is still in negative territory, anytime that rotates down, you want to be paying attention. This could be a quick liquidity grab, and then we end up going lower. You notice the levels that we're hitting in here could be seen as some form of what? Resistance. We have a gap right here. We have all this stuff right here. We have a gap here. We have some support there that came in. So we gapped above the resistance level, used it as support, ended up heading higher. Very, very important. You'll even pull it across and see there's even a little gap right in here. So we know that level is important, and we touch into it for a second and bad things start to happen. So Nvidia is still leaning towards a 2 hour lower high until we're proven that it's not going to be, right? Until we start to violate some stuff. All right, that 30-minute looking like it wants to possibly pull back. I'm still looking for, I think, the obvious 30-minute weakness. Hi, good morning. Could you check the stocks in Target? Let's check on Target real quick. Target, very interesting. This is very, very sideways and up. So most of the time, if I'm seeing this and I see a double top, possibly even divergence in it, which is kind of crazy, the 2 hour turning down is what I'm looking for. This means that the opportunity might be here soon because you're seeing a decent bounce. But is it there right now? No. So when would be the better opportunity, in my opinion, as we're losing the 5? Well, if this actually crossed and created a divergence point. Right? We really confirm. You want pretty much this. You see a good reaction from this base, but do you have a strong base? No. So if this is really going to be an important level, do I mind if price gets here and then goes like that? Do I mind if it chops it to take out stops and then goes like that? No, not at all. It actually confirms that that price point is pretty good. And then we'll see that maybe turn down, maybe take out some stops, and then turn right back up, and you'll have the divergence on the MACD and RSI. That would be more the opportunity for Target that I see. Happy Posy vibes. Remember, guys, today I am rather busy. There will be no YouTube video tonight, so make sure you're tuning in to the live stream tomorrow to get those daily expected moves. We might even post those to Patreon. When we're not here, we do post the SPY and the Q's daily expected moves to Patreon. Remember, there are not daily, just so you're aware, there are not daily expected moves for every stock that we cover every single day. They do not have expirations every single day, so you cannot necessarily make a daily expected move for those stocks. My thoughts on TLT are it's going to react to the data, right? That's the main thing. The technical side would say that TLT is showing weakness in momentum, very obvious weakness in momentum. But if we keep holding up above the 5 and seeing this 30-minute curl up, what's going to happen? It's just going to keep going like this, going like this, going like this. Look at Palantir. Palantir keeps going to the 5 and going like that, going like that. So this looks like weakness in momentum. It looks like it's kind of stepping up to the top of the diving board, right? But this is going to be very reactionary to data. Volatility now up 2.18%. We'll see if that picks up. I'm telling you, and I was just thinking critically, right? I was thinking with some common sense, and I was like, man, if we're not going to correct now and we're just going to keep heading a little bit higher and a little bit higher and a little bit higher, it kind of sets up a recipe for disaster with the signals we're seeing right now. And that's kind of why you have this 4-hour divergence popping up, is because you haven't necessarily corrected in a while. So we would like to see a quick week-and-a-half correction here, get down to maybe 586.62 at the bottom of your screen there, and then end up seeing this thing actually go higher. That's what I really want to see, and I think it would be very good for the market to do so. And then if we can keep seeing those type of corrections, you can actually keep going higher into October of 2025. But you will have to get past January 2025. You genuinely will, because by January 2025, if you make the correction and make the upward move, then you're going to start to see those crash signals pop up again. I just sent Adam Aaron a, don't let me catch you in the streets. It's not even, I mean, the only thing that could, you know, you can be hypercritical of him, and there are things to be critical about. I think he pays himself over, what, over $25 million a year, and his company is currently in debt. That's a little bit much, probably, but for the most part, that company would be doing very, very well if it did not have a short seller problem. Just think if that company was averaging all for the last 10 years at $10 a share. If it was that, okay, that would be fine. But there are things to be critical of him about because it is not at $10 a share, and that would be, hey, he pays himself too much. He's always diluting, but he's always diluting also because the shares are too low, right? I mean, really, if we're thinking just based on what the company is and how the company performs now, you would say, okay, well, anywhere from probably $14 to $22 for a share of AMC would make sense. But that's not going to happen until this problem gets out of it, and they don't want the problem to get out of it, so I would expect more of that. And we even got weakness and momentum signals to kind of tell us, now we have to see, is this actually going to produce the downside, right? That's the most likely thing to happen. 2 hour pulls down, 2 hour crosses up. Hey, that's facts, Alexander. Boy spitting facts. But yeah, I mean, more so just for everything, it's like, hey, this is just, you know, maybe even just holding it at that point still, right? It doesn't really cost much, maybe opportunity cost to hold the stock. But other than that, you're just, if you don't mind and you're not trying to trade on a daily or weekly, monthly basis, then you probably don't mind just sitting there holding it and being like, all right, we'll see if it runs. It could take a month, it could take another year, it could take another 3 years, who knows? But I'll tell you what, anytime that this stock goes down, or anytime that AMC goes down to $4, I'll probably be buying it. The T is, I think we need to correct, or else we are going to go through something bad in December. I really think this is getting too excited too fast. We already know that the insiders have been selling even more aggressively, especially on stocks like Nvidia for the past few months, right? Remember when we pulled up the SEC filings and I showed you guys Nvidia and how every insider was a sell? There was not one buy order happening. That was like only a month ago. I could go look at it again, and I guarantee you I'm not seeing buy orders right now for Nvidia. Okay, AMD, we got to talk about it. AMD is hitting a critical level here, and this is a good thing for the stock. We talked about AMD, how the best thing for the stock here is to pull back and then see the move higher later. All right, that's the best thing for the stock. That is how it remains healthy and then keeps doing those curl ups. If it can retest the 5 and head higher, you are hitting a very critical level on that wick. If you're part of Patreon, you are already paying attention to that. That's awesome. And that's why the Patreon is so useful. It gives you levels that nobody else can really see unless they know how to do the calculation. And we touched it like on the dot. Pretty awesome. All right, we got 14 minutes till some data gets out. See what happens with that going forward. Nvidia, are we going to make a quick little divergence here? That'll be interesting. I really think this needs to just pull back a little bit today, pop up tomorrow, get rug pulled on Thursday, and we got ourselves a corrective move. If not, I'm going to be even more worried, and I'll probably be looking for signals from volatility and grabbing some of that. We keep heading higher. But today might be the day as well. I'm going to pop over to my other screen here. I do notice the 2 hour is confirming up on the volatility of volatility. The 4 hour has not. The 4 hour looks really nice for the VVIX. I think you guys should see this. Look at this 4 hour for the VVIX. If I can ever find it. VVIX. I reorganized, so I'm like confused where everything's at. Look at that divergence if that completed. And look what you just did. You already completed it on the 2, and you had like little flatness here. That's really, really good. Now, that could easily go away very quickly with some data in 13 minutes. But if this has the opposite reaction, we see the 4-hour start to climb because we do get revisions and stuff today. That's going to be a big problem. Even my third indicator is showing some serious divergence here, some positive divergence, right? Price action coming down or the reading coming down. And this is just turned up. So I'm really interested to see if that comes in today. All of this starts to play out. We make a little 2-hour down here. Everyone starts talking about head and shoulders. And then we actually see one more rally. We'll still pay attention to how this thing could head lower, but from this, if we do this very early on in the month, and we're only on December, late next week, and we start forming those divergences, that would be huge. Now, that would be a big drop, but I kind of want that to happen so this market can reach down for those buyers and then end up going higher. Could take more time than that, though. I think it could take its time, and then you see just really bullish run come in. That would be nice. We'll see. We know this. We kind of went through those scenarios, by the way, on the Saturday video. So on Saturdays, we like to blow things up. We like to look at the bigger picture. We like to look at what's going on the daily scale, on the weekly scale, sometimes monthly scale, or we'll talk about some things that could be giving warning signs in the market. Now, what things do we pay attention to for warning signs? Well, the housing market is a good one. And we can look at the housing market right now and see what would really benefit the housing market. A solid pullback actually would benefit the housing market. And you see the left, the head, the right shoulder. That would be very, very good for the housing sector. The other things we pay attention to are the dollar, 10-year yield, PCC, all those kinds of things. And we do talk about it on Saturdays. So thanks so much for subscribing so that you can see that type of stuff. SMCI, look at that, able to go positive on the daily, starting to see that momentum come in. 2-hour divergence here at the top for now. We'll see if that has any kind of inkling of, hey, I want to turn down. Right now, you're not necessarily seeing that. Netflix coming up to a key level. Look at the divergence on Netflix. Fantastic little trade there. And you even have, hey, good area for liquidity, good area for sellers to jump in, and they're jumping in. And you'll notice the 2-hour, what does this look like? Well, you could argue for potential for double top with the wick or even a lower high with the closes. And if that 2-hour crosses down, where are you? Really close to the center line. Really close. So you're looking at, can the 30-minute hold it up and you confirm cup and handle in some way? Or is this 2-hour going to crawl down here and you're actually going to get a big daily pullback for Netflix? That's what I'm interested in. And it's all shaping up to today, and we have 10 minutes till data comes out. Isn't that ironic? Don't you think? It's like rain. Okay, let me look at some other stuff real quick. Volatility is starting to move, 2.55% for volatility right now. Let's check DIA. DIA, let's see, IWM, bad 4-hour signal. DIA, bad 4-hour signal. SPY, bad 4-hour signal. Qs, bad 4-hour signal. So if I click through these, if I go to 4-hour, I change my time frames based on what looks the most simple, and then I look into those time frames to see if there's weakness. We know there's 2-hour divergence here. If that 2-hour divergence completes, the 4-hour is likely to complete. It's likely to confirm. So that's why I'm like looking for a chart that can make me feel more confident in my trade. The 2-hour, if that crosses, I can be pretty confident that the 4-hour cross. When the 4-hour crosses, I can be pretty confident the daily will cross. And guess what? We got ourselves a daily corrective move. Most likely, right? We want to see if that's short and sweet down by a weekly, but we can notice how that would form. So the 4-hour for the SPY, divergence, MACD, RSI, all there. Qs, divergence, MACD, RSI, all there. IWM, divergence, MACD, RSI, all there. DIA, the Dow Jones, divergence, MACD, RSI, all there. Yeah, that's a big problem. Right, that's a big problem. Lower high was most likely for Amazon. That was a good move. All right, so let's pull it into a 30-minute. I'm going to stop clicking around so much. Really want to just pay attention to the reaction to the data. because there is a chance that we need to form that weakness first and not curl down that 2 hour just yet. DJT is the bomb. 5% on DJT. This is why we're paying attention to it. The short sale volume theory is not fully there, but it is turning up again as of this morning. So this does lead me to believe that they are about to short sell the hell out of DJT. Which means if they're about to short sell the hell out of it, then the last time they did, it went way up here. It started down here, it went way up here. It's starting right now. It could end up seeing a good move. We'll see. I don't know why. Oh, I need to turn off Streamlabs too. The little links there. Still some good stuff in those links. I just don't want them popping up in a row like that. That's just tacky. What do you think about DoorDash? It's very boring in terms of swing trade, but it has grown decently. Let's go look at DoorDash. I don't know the ticker for that. There it is, Dash. Okay. So I guess I do know the ticker. Careful on the daily. You do have the divergence on the daily, not necessarily on the MACD at the same time, but this is enough of a rejection that you could consider it. And then you want to go, do I see weakness for that daily to really rotate down? Well, we can see that the 2 hour and the daily were kind of in tandem. Look at the 4 hour chart. That's confirmed as well. This does lean towards DoorDash is going to see a bigger daily. I would say pullback. I think this rejection one, as we're seeing a very strong MACD, has a very good shot to go make a legit one if we can see a decent sized pullback. Get people excited. Oh, look at this breakout, and then it curls down, and we just see something like this. I don't like the signals yet. If the 2 hour can just curl up, well, we could see positivity, right? We have not lost anything too much. So if that curls up, you notice it's still positive. And the last time it curled up, hey, good things. Did you have a 30 minute down here? That's nice. That looks nice. That looks like 30 minute. Yeah, that's 30 minute. There you go. This is why we pay attention, and hopefully you're excited to take the course. I know some people grabbing that even yesterday as the sale was ending. It's down there in the description if you want to get it, but we're going to do a sale with Christmas, just so you're aware. You can sit here and learn with us completely for free for now. I want to make sure you get a good price, right? The best price possible. We have divergence on the 30 minute for the MACD RSI at the same time, and that's a big deal because that led to the most likely thing to happen. The 2 hour curls up into positive territory, and boom, you got it. Now you have 2 hour divergences popping up. You have 30 minute divergence popping up at these highs. Not the best divergence in the world, but now you're starting to go negative. So that's a big deal. The daily looks like a daily pullback is the most likely. The only thing that can save that is if the 2 hour turns up into positive territory. Very cool. I like that. That's a fun one. So actually, technically, we should be looking at a 30 minute to see if this can save itself at a daily expected move. Kapil, yes, very excited about the course. It's making my trades very logical. Yeah, and it's very clear cut, and that's good. What indicators do I use? I'm a classic guy now. I used to use like 12 different indicators, and I said, you know, which ones actually work for me? Like, which ones do I actually put together and they're kind of beneficial? So I just use the RSI. I use some moving averages, right? But RSI and MACD are the two very important ones. If I just had the RSI and MACD, I could sit here and if I had RSI, MACD, and weekly ranges, I wouldn't need anything else. That's why I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh yeah, get the, you know, pay $1,000 a month for this trading indicator or $1,000 a month for whatever. I want to tell retail, hey, you don't have to spend a ton of money to get good at trading based on technicals. You can use classic indicators like this if you have a good understanding of those indicators, the RSI, the MACD, and weekly ranges. If you have all of that, you have the recipe for success. You genuinely have the recipe for success. If you want to add some credibility, if you want to add some more reasons, which is something we encourage, give yourself those 5 reasons. Then you want to learn about support, you want to learn about resistance, you want to learn about divergence, you want to learn about all those kinds of things. That's when you really unlock things for the MACD and RSI, and then you can learn about monthly expected moves and things like that. Yeah, the weekly ranges is just what the options market is pricing in before the week begins. which is awesome because it tells us, hey, where's the options market even psychologically most likely going to sell? Well, it's at these purple lines. Where are they most logically going to, or where are they their psychological level to buy? Or maybe the market maker knows that level would be key for the pricing for them to just use that algorithm to shoot stocks higher because calls are cheaper. It's going to be down by the weekly expected move, down by a monthly expected move. We're noticing a lot of insider selling, while at the same time we notice that retail is the one probably causing this little bit of a squeeze here, and really we need to be correcting right now. So retail seems to maybe be getting trapped here. If we don't have that, then we're most likely going to do this, trap them one more time. Yeah. Once you get a good understanding, you can really formulate your plan well in advance, which is cool. Yeah, they're all momentum indicators too, just so you're aware. All right, looking over, just paying attention to VVIX, paying attention to VIX, paying attention to all of these 4 hours on my other charts just to make sure we're keeping an eye on them. IWM's very close to crossing over. Very close to crossing over for that one. IWM super close to crossing there. 1 minute till the data drop, and then we get to see if this market can squeeze a little bit higher, or are we going to actually see it pull back on the 30-minute, test a daily expected move for a trap, and then there's the third option, which is you're going to curl down a 2 hour, which might curl down a 4 hour, and we might start to correct right here, right now. So it's a good day. It's a good day to be live. I wish I had more time to do a YouTube video tonight. If I'm able to squeak one out, we might just be able to go over the SPY and the Qs tonight. Weirdly enough, to me, it looks like people are trying to short still. And that's the thing. If you want the fuel to, if you want the fuel to go higher, then keep having retail short the thing, right? It's always going to do the opposite. You'll see times where it corrects in those moments, or like not really corrects, pulls back in those moments, but then it'll just be another trap to get people bearish again. Like pretty much the behavior of right now is someone is behaving like this is a corrective low or a crash low. That's actually what we're seeing a little bit. So very interesting. But I think the market needs to breathe. All right, let's go look at that data real quick. We get the JOLTS job openings. We got 7.744 million for the JOLTS job openings. That is an increase from the consensus in the forecast and an increase of the previous. So that is above the forecast of 7.38 mil, and consensus was 7.48 mil, and we have seen an increase in JOLTS job openings. Very interesting. We'll see now how it affects the market. Yeah, Jess, I mean, if you're just looking at IWM, its signals are the same as over here. So most likely we are going to see IWM try to do something. What all of this could be is consolidation, right? We've seen a break down. If this was happening just a little bit higher, we'd be talking about a range that could break up. You still want to think that can, because you're still right next to positive territory. The big problem here is your 2 hour has confirmed divergence, which just means the daily can start turning down at some point, right? So that means this daily here that is showing divergence as well can start to fall. So this tells me that IWM could see a downward period, and then I actually would be paying attention to December 16th. Because if December 16th, that would line up to a pretty good timing for this to get down in these areas, and maybe we're able to see some upside from that. Right? We want to look for basing out signals. Right now, we kind of have the opposite, right? If the daily turns down, that's a bad sign. If the 4 hour turns down, that's a bad sign, right? We notice this is the similar look across all indices right now. So we should kind of take that into consideration, say if all indices are showing 4 hour weakness and all of those confirm, then are all of them going to pull back in a corrective move? Because this is already confirmed your 2 hour. You're just holding very flat. You're reacting to the 5. If we can just turn up, awesome. Maybe we go up to a weekly expected move. But right now you do have weakness in the signals, so we need to flip that around for IWM to head to the upside. Yeah, we've talked about that a few times this morning. All right, I still want to mainly be watching probably the Qs, actually. Okay, if we can hold sideways, that wouldn't be the worst. That's kind of what I'm looking for here. What would the SPY get to if this thing pulled back and moved higher? Pulled back with time 607, 606 if it's today, 610 by the end of the week. That would be massive. Yeah, Jess, of course. If I have time, Jess, I don't mind taking a second look. I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick, guys. I will be right back. Two minutes, Turkish. All right, sorry, we're back. Data drop today was the JOLTS job openings, that one coming in higher than expected and higher than the previous. Now we're just watching to see the reaction of the market. What's the reaction from TLT? Nothing really. Interesting. No reaction. Interesting. Qs are probably the important one to watch for now. Yeah, very interesting. Kind of no reaction there from TLT. I'll check on my other charts just to see if anything's happening. AMC, yeah, confirming the signals as of now. GME trying to find a base. And DJT trying to confirm the daily swing trade to the upside, running into the 200 as of right now. Nvidia still moving overall sideways. That's good actually for the stock. We can remain above the 5, just see a curl up. Go for a test of that 141 level. Dude, Palantir is a monster. SoFi as well, seeing a retest of the 5-day moving average, maybe to get one more 30-minute move higher. Has confirmed the 2-hour divergence across the way, so that could be a massive trap if that does make the 30-minute move higher. Mara, are you gonna curl out? Retesting. SMCI is a monster too right now. Bitcoin, let's look at Bitcoin right now. Because I think Bitcoin has a good chance for a 2-hour to pop up here. Oh, well, it is popping up, so okay, well, never mind. That's just me saying what's happening at this point. I want to see if that 2-hour crosses up and see if we can go positive, because the 4-hour is down by that center line. If we want the next 4-hour move higher, kind of important to curl up the 2-hour soon. Whoa, we were talking about 4-hour confirming. Well, VIX 9-day did just confirm that. It'll confirm it in about 3.5 hours. So we'll see this in 3.5 hours and see what happens. Kind of a sluggish morning though. Do we have light volume again this morning? I'll check volume on my other screen. I mean, I guess it's only been 40 minutes. I shouldn't judge it too much. Not too sluggish. Not too sluggish for the Qs. A little bit, but not too sluggish at all. Pretty good for a morning, actually. Dollar screaming higher. See, that's something we need to watch. Okay, the dollar, this is going to be a big deal. The 2-hour cross down, but if that 2-hour crosses back up, ooh, it's starting to get rid of that positive correlation with the SPY. Starting to get rid of that positive correlation with the SPY, so this is where the dollar can start to head up and the SPY might actually start to move down. But we've noticed that they've been mostly in a positive correlation. You're trying to get out of that right now for the dollar. And it's starting, but it's like, is it going to continue, right? Are we going to keep trying to confirm the negative correlation? Or are we going to see more of the same? Wolf crossing down on the 30-minute. You do have 30-minute divergence, so that would be a confirmation that you can see more downside, right? That means that downside is very probable. But just want you to notice, the 2-hour has not crossed, and the 30-minute is above the 5. So with Wolf, if this goes back below the 5, that's when I'm a little more worried. But this is your first good signal of, hey, maybe I would take some off the table, right? So with Wolf, I would say this is a signal that usually convinces me, hey, this is a short signal, right? So that means this is most likely to come down. So, but if I want to see something crazy, I need to pile up right where we're at right now. Pile up, pile up, pile up, and then break through 1135. So I'm going to sit, I'm going to wait, I'm going to watch this, and then if it's able to break through, we can see a good move. If it drops down below the 5, then it says, okay, most likely it's 2 hour is going to pull down. Exactly, William. Kind of just moving it back and forth right now. But yeah, this is technically a weakness in momentum to the upside signal. So you're seeing this go higher, you're seeing the negative divergence. So you're seeing it on the RSI as well. So this is enough to make Wolf go down here. But as it is holding, and with my short seller theory, I'm just rolling the money again from my short seller theory and saying, okay, well, Wolf, technically it could have it by tomorrow, right? It's starting it. It hasn't completed these signals, but today's price action could make it happen. DJT's was starting it as well, right? DJT's was starting it as well. That's kind of why I was talking about it, because it was starting it, and now today you might see that actually confirm. I'm trying to find out when to get into those moves. I'm still testing it, right? Just want to be very clear about that. I'm still just doing tests with it, but I'm using the same amount of money I made from Wolf. So now I have a decent chunk and I can use small amounts. Come on, SPY, pull back. I think I would really like at least a 30-minute pullback here. I'm fine with it going higher for now. Like if we get a 30-minute pullback, then I'm fine with it going higher. If we just go higher from here, we might see a new bullish trend for another few weeks, and that makes me really worried for December. XLU was tanking. XLU was tanking, and this is why I'm nervous for the market, right? We see the flatness up here, a little bit up, flatness up here, a little bit up. So not necessarily the best 2-hour divergence, but when you look at the daily scale, if that crosses down, that's not a good sign. You know, a lot of the time XLU will lead us. And right now it's kind of leading. Look at that ugly, ugly day. Right, so XLU, HGX, all these type of things, they're experiencing at least consolidative, but pretty weak consolidation. We'll see what happens. I still want to be open to a head and shoulders here. And you're seeing volatility pop up, XLU drop down. You're seeing the SPY hold up at higher levels kind of by a thread, right, with divergence above it. So yeah, XLU is saying something bad's coming around the corner here, or there's potential, right? More so when we see the divergences, we want to say, hey, this is where momentum is weak if we get bad news, right? We've said that a lot. If we get bad news, then we will see some dramatic downside. If we don't get bad news, then this is probably going to shape out on shorter time frames and be able to turn back up. Jack, well, thank you so much for the 199. MSTR seems weak to you. Let's go check on that, because everyone's talking about MSTR a lot lately, but what do I see? I just see a simple 2-hour swing trade right here. Right now, the daily, that has confirmed down, so that 2-hour does not have to be some kind of massive move. That could be a trap in some way. You could see a sporadic 2-hour move that just completely fades, but you would say this is what you're looking for, the 2-hour to cross up, and then you can see positivity. And I was also looking at Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's 4-hour could cross up. You can see positivity. If you're really looking for a Bitcoin correction, it makes sense for that to happen now, but it also makes sense for us to set a trap. It makes sense for us to do this, and MSTR might do this as well, right? We might see a move like this and then just pop up for a second and pop right back down. You do have some serious weakness here, though, and so I would really wait for confirmations on all of these, because you have some serious weakness up here. If you can get rid of it with a nice little A, B, C move, that's fine. Just want to pay attention up here to any signals, because on the daily scale, you might have it at that point. Right? We can see how if we're able to get that 4-hour move, what if the daily ends up turning up for some time? We see this go like that, and then you see this start to pop up. That's going to be a problem. So MSTR, I think you have a likely thing for the similar scenario happening. Bitcoin, I like the move though. Damn, good move. MACD. Just type MACD and indicators. We go over in the course how to get these on there, but MACD, RSI, and then everything over here. You can screenshot everything over here. I'm not trying to hide much, you know what I mean? I'm probably the one that just gives away all this stuff all the time, so. You can just pause the video, screenshot that, and then start getting it on your charts. All right, we'll see if the 30-minute rolls back down. We haven't retaken the 5 for volatility yet. Qs are still holding up. Really, really freaking boring right now. Tempted for Apple. Ooh, I could see it. Yeah. Not the best look in the world, but I can see what you're talking about. Oh my gosh, Apple, what a move so far. Holy crap. 2-hour no signal there. 30-minute a light one. Starting to get to that weekly expected move. You can be a little patient. It's curling up on the 30-minute. So if that 30-minute does curl up, that would say positivity. But if that positivity only lasts like an hour and then you see that curl back down, that's more when I would say, hey, now you're getting a confirmation of downward momentum. So it's kind of like this too, by the way. The reason you wait for confirmation is because the momentum is going up, up, up. When that starts to change, that's when you start to react, right? So if I took it now, I'd be taking it while momentum is going like this. I want to look for if it goes like that, then I'm taking it when momentum is going down. That would be more what I try to do. Tesla, is that completing the 2-hour? Not quite yet. Rutro raggy. Maybe we'll just pull back with time for a bit. Right, pull back with time just means pretty much price action moving sideways, but it gets that MACD to get down here. I'll look at the, I'll compare, like, so if I, like, even in this move right here, we're still paying attention kind of to the 2-hour to see if that would violate things in the future. So like SPX 500, US 100. Do I do it for my trading? I'll take it into consideration with my trading. Like if I'm seeing a daily divergence confirm on SPX 500 before I'm seeing it confirm on the SPY, because that does happen, then I can make a decision. If I could see a signal that is on SPX 500 and the SPY in the 2 timeframes when you kind of blow them up and they're similar, then that's a good sign. So there's ways that I use it, but most of the time I'm taking trades based on the actual regular trading hours. A lot of the time, pre-market, post-market, you're going to see liquidity grabs and things like that. So it's not like the most important thing. If it ever becomes important, we've done it before where we've kind of blown it up. I think we did it with the SPY yesterday because like we extended the hours because of there was a spike down at some point, and you're going to see now there's a 30-minute divergence up here, right? So this is where you could kind of look at the extended hours, and now you're seeing that drop. Now the 2 hours already dropped, right? You can see it very clearly there. So it can clear things up at this moment. But I want regular trading hours to confirm it. I want the volume during the day to confirm this 2-hour and then not be able to curl back up on a 30-minute, right? Are the Qs still behaving rather? Yeah, pretty flat still though. Yeah, I just don't see the weakness on the RSI on the 38-minute anymore. So I still think something like this is very likely. Set one more trap, get the cues towards its weekly expected move. That's what I really want to see. I think that would be fantastic too. We just keep going. That's what I think would be the easiest scenario. Yesterday was crazy and today's really calm. It's always the calm days you should be a little bit. Who's gonna wake the bear? Duh, bears. All right, I'm gonna click over on some things on my other charts just to stay aware. Looks like that Apple is trying to unconfirm the 30-minute cross-up. Looks like a rejection from the 30-minute could be coming. Could be coming. Maybe it needs a retest of that 5 first for Apple. Tesla is starting to drop down a little bit more. 30-minute does not necessarily have divergence, just so you're aware with Tesla. So the 5-day sitting right around 345. See if Tesla can get there. And then we'll find out. Is it going to lose that? Is it going to take it back? What's going to happen? Amazon, this one's showing some flat divergences and trying to make one more upward push, but you have confirmed those divergences, so 2-hour could curl down from that. Nvidia, not really showing the most strength just yet, but still remaining above the 5. AMD, really worried about this one with the tagging of a weekly expected move right on the dot with that wick. Just touch that weekly expected move, and now it's like, all right, what's the most likely thing to happen? Well, reject from that level. Even though it has great signals, it does have that great 2-hour signal. It says the daily's curling up. It's great. But if it needs to pull back, then you're going to hit one of those levels and probably pull back. So we'll see if that happens, or is AMD about to see something crazy? Alrighty, let's keep looking through. I wanted to look at Microsoft. Microsoft is the one, guys, that I really like, and that's confirming right now. So I'm just pointing it out. This is a great signal right here. This is a great signal. Now, I'm always aware that that can make one more move up and trap me again, right? Trap again. So we'll see if that trap does take place. That would mean that this is going to get down by that center line, curl up, and then curl right back down. You have triple divergence. If that pops up for Microsoft, I'm going to be saying that 2 hours rolling. But you can see where that 2 hours at. Pretty positive. So if this is going to be some crazy downward move, that's not the most likely scenario. The most likely scenario is some kind of 2-hour pull back that ends up turning back up. You do see the divergence on the RSI, so interesting there. A little bit more weakness here, actually, just because we see it here. When it follows over from the 30-minute to the 2-hour, I'd read into it. It's not on the MACD at the same time, but that does add a little bit more validity and credibility to, hey, this could start to make lower lows. I still think most likely thing is this, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if we start to see some ABC patterns down. Yeah, that one I really like. I need to look at that one real quick. Google kind of fading it, AMC dropping, GME trying to make some kind of base. Palantir, are you just setting a trap, man? That's a crazy move. Gold trying to reject on the 30-minute, crossing back down on the 2-hour as of late yesterday. GLD, that is. Ooh, I know SMCI saw a good move, but I don't really like this look. Yeah, this right here on the 2-hour, I don't really like that look. So I don't see the 30-minute weakness, not too much, but I do see weakness here, 2-hour and 2-hour MACD and RSI. So would say be a little cautious if that 2-hour does roll down. You don't really have 30-minute weakness, I would say, just flatness all across the top for the most part. We can see even we're starting to violate those levels. So that could just be a 30-minute pullback or a quick 2-hour pullback. I just don't like the 2-hour signals between these highs. Okay, go like this, then go like this, then go like this, then we go like this, and then we go down. Let's do that. Let's do that, Q's. How's that sound? I don't really have thoughts on what they do with it. I always said what I think they should do with the 4 billion. I think something they should do is, actually, I think they should team up with AMC. Weird way, the word moist. I always say violate, don't I? I feel violated. Yeah, I think the coolest thing, at least from like just a nerd, a customer perspective, when I think about it, I'm like, God, it would be sick. They could make they could do esports events. They could make an esports team. They could make a gaming, like a little gaming spot in every single AMC, and they could watch things like Arcane. They could maybe buy the rights to Arcane, and people could go watch Arcane together, right? Like things like that would be really cool. More gaming centric style stuff. What are they probably going to do? Lean into crypto. They're gonna, the easiest thing to do right now for a business is lean into crypto, lean into AI, and everyone, blows their load and buys your stock. So that's just the most likely thing. I think it would be much cooler. Oh, stop it, Sid. Oh, stop. Yeah. I think it would be much cooler to do some kind of actual event thing, encourage people to go to AMC with those events by teaming up with them. Because then you would also get rid of AMC's debt, maybe with the 4 billion. They could do a partnership, do a co-op. VIX now 2.85. Watch this 4 hour. Very, very close. 9 days already done it. Right? 9 days doing it. It was on a negative bar though, so we want that to be on a positive bar. A Jake Paul fight? Yeah, fuck no. No. No, we should not encourage any more Jake Paul fights, guys. We should not encourage, come on. Everyone complains about the Jake Paul fights, and then they sit there and they pay to watch the Jake Paul fight. I'm good. Let's go look at Soundhound. Soundhound, very worried about this 2 hour. Multiple point divergence at this level, starting to get like this. But notice every time that we test the 5, what ends up happening? Well, we lost the 5 here, made a 30-minute double bottom. Look at that. Don't even have to look at it yet, but hey, there's your signals. Bam, 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 bam. Great stuff. So if this 30-minute can curl up again after testing that 5, it might be go time again. And then you just want to be aware if that go time doesn't get rid of or doesn't make a divergence or does, right? If that makes a quick divergence, then you'd pay attention because that's when you can actually lose the 5, right? We don't really see it on the 30-minute here. You want that in your price action. So I think this is pretty likely. live at AMC. It's just like funeral home versus Jake Paul. The only reason those events make money is because individuals pay for it. I refuse to pay for it. I have bought 2 UFC fights in my whole life, and both sucked ass. So I don't buy UFC fights anymore. I don't do it. It's unfortunate. I'm just bad at picking the fights I want to see, I guess. Maybe you guys need to notify me when you think a good fight's happening, and I'll give it a whirl. UVXY catching a bid. Yeah, it makes total sense. People are hedging. Something's making people hedge at least a little bit more than usual today, right? First the hedge comes in, then the news. Hedge, ooh. Hedge, we'll see. Now we're testing 5-day. Now you want to see if the volatility actually comes in. That would be the SPY dropping here, right? The 2 hour actually crossing. So that's why we're really watching SPY. I'm gonna watch SPY instead of the keys right now, just because volatility will track the SPY a little bit better. Yeah, but that's freaking Tyson. Okay, I did get one boxing match I really liked. It was oh, who's the black guy and who's the big bald white guy? The boxing match, the heavyweights. What are their names? Oh god, it was a cool fight. Who is it? Oh god, who is it? Tyson Fury, yeah. Yeah, but I said heavyweights, you know what I'm saying? Heavyweights. Tyson Fury and oh, what's his name? He's got that huge right hand, man. Huge right hand. That fight was fun. Wilder, that's it. Yeah, they fought like 3 different times. I finally like bought one and I was like, damn, this one's great. That was like years ago. That was a good fight. Because it's like Wilder was slowly getting beat up, but he'd occasionally just throw out that right, and you'd be like, oh god, if he lands one of those, that dude's head is gone. I would be so scared in the ring with those people, man. Yeah, I thought, you know, I like, I think Patty the Batty's like YouTube channel's fun, but I don't know if he's like the best fighter. I kind of watched some of his fights and I was like, not. You know, and that's me sitting in my chair, like gotten to 2 fights in my entire life, but, you know, being very critical. I'm sure he's fantastic, but as far as the fights go, I just wasn't the most entertained, I'll put it that way, from the last, I think I've watched him like a year ago. And I think I was sitting there like, ooh, the other guy might have won. DJT almost crossing on the daily. I have DJT crossed on the daily. We'll see if that... Ooh, did that give it up? No, it's still crossed. Now we got to see if that can really pump up. I really wanted to take the 200 today. Butterbean? I think I've seen Butterbean. Is that the super fat dude? Or no? Because if it's not the guy I'm thinking of now, I feel very bad for calling this person fat. Because if it's Butterbean, the guy I'm thinking of, that was entertainment. Okay, sick. Yeah, I'm not I try to watch fights. My buddy actually fought in the UFC. My buddy fought in the Contender Series, and then he got like to the point, or I think it was Contender Series, I don't remember, but he got to the point where he could get offered a contract. And he's winning the fight. He's very controlling the fight. Then this lanky dude just comes up out of nowhere with a knee, and it catches him right in the dome. And my dude sleeps. It was insane. You look at Kerry. Yeah, let's look at those. And then he actually fought in the UFC a little bit later. I think he lost the fight, though. For Kerry, always want to pay attention if the 2 hour can turn back up. Are we seeing signals of that? You actually are if you can hold up right now. If you can hold up right now. But the 2 hour, just so you're aware, that is a steep divergence. So we also need to be aware if the daily has crossed. The daily has crossed. So what is very likely to happen here? Well, if the 2 hour catches a bounce, that could consolidate in some way before another drop, or maybe we drop more and create this little head and shoulders. That would be interesting. Left head, right shoulder. That would be interesting. Because that allows the 2 hour to go negative, because lower high is likely when that daily is crossed. But to get it now, that means, hey, we could actually beat that high instead of bigger trap maybe, right? But if this actually behaved, I mean, we're thinking about kind of like how these lower highs form, and Nvidia actually dropped further, right, to the baseline here. So maybe we drop to the base where you create that neckline, and then you actually bounce up, because that would actually make your MACD go negative, and then it's very likely to see a lower high. So that's how I see for KRE. BAC, Bank of America, that's again another bad signal. That's confirming. Did the daily confirm? Yes, it did. So most likely the daily is topping out here for a bit. Do we have big reversal signals for this? Not necessarily, right? Not on the daily scale, we would say. Not on the daily scale. So we have to be open to a 2-hour divergence that leads to KRE and Bank of America actually going higher. Yeah, actually going higher. We'll see. But that can take a lot of time, right? The 2-hour, once again, we could see that reaction again down, go to where that neckline would be, then you bounce up and you see that curl back down. That's what we're kind of paying attention to. Yeah. Great look, though, for a possible short position. Right on this bar, actually, 47.50. And then you just go, okay, well, does the 30-minute show divergence? I'm seeing a tiny one right here. So if that 30-minute turns up, should I wait for that 30-minute to turn up, maybe turn back down? Right? Take some profit early, then see if that goes like this and just turns back down and rejects off of the 5. Then you go, okay, now we're going to see that bigger daily pullback. Or are you just going to get it right now because this hasn't confirmed up yet? Right? See how my thinking's going. Hey, managing risk. What would be the risk? What would be a way to stay out of the risk? What would be a way to stay out of the risk? I'm probably in profit here. Okay, let me see. 30-minute turns up. Let me take away some money out of that for a second. Maybe keep half. And then if that turns up and turns back down, hey, I can make that position a little bit better. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, we pay attention to Nvidia, so I can check on that real quick. Once again, holding above the 5. That's good. The real signal we're looking for here is that little bit of weakness outside of, I would say, 141.12 or a weekly expected move. So I'm fine with us continuing to move sideways because that gives us more and more room to make this kind of move and then see some kind of trap set. We don't have to set a trap. We're just aware if it happens. If this 2-hour keeps going and just goes positive, 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 hey, that can go test the high, go make a new one, especially if you start to curl up daily charts. But you notice where the MACD is, and that's what we just talked about with KRE and Bank of America, right? Come down to the important level, then get your bounce, then you can see, oh, how that would easily be a lower high for Nvidia. VIX 4-hour curled up. Okay, SPY's not dropping too much. I don't think it did. Yeah, it hasn't curled up yet. Now the 9-day one has, right? This one, it has. We're just waiting for 3 hours now to see if that's actual positive because you're curling up on negative bar here. You want that to be a positive bar in some way. How did TLT react? Did that start coming down? TLT very likely to get a 2-hour pullback. Didn't really see too much of a reaction with the data though. So if that 30-minute curls up, test the 5, we can see more positivity for TLT. And DJT 2.8. Yeah, see, it's nothing too much to worry about just yet. Just because it lags sometimes on my end. It kind of makes my stuff behave funky, McFlash. I don't know what happened with my internet here. I know it's a shared network because that's like all that's offered here. But and I can't really stream an Ethernet down, but originally it was working really, really well. And you know, they always do that. I feel like they make it work really, really well for a month and then they throttle the hell out of you. So just because we're experiencing some lagging during the video, I can bring it back. I just got to find a way to make it function a little bit better. Because the camera, technically, the way that I use my camera, it uses Wi-Fi to stream it. And I was sick of seeing myself like talk and then my face would pause in the dumbest looking face for like 5 seconds and then it would catch up. So I'll try to get it going, McFlash. I will try to see if I can make some changes around here to get that available. We bullish or what? I would be bullish for a moment if we can hold up. If we actually see a little pullback for this 30-minute, get by the center line, I would be bullish more around here if we can do this, or if we can do this here, right? That's when I'd be bullish. Right now, you have to say that's not a good sign. You have to say volatility turning up, not a good sign. So overall, in the very short term, we could become bullish soon. But as of right now, I would say in the medium term, meaning like just a couple weeks out, a little bit worried about prices dropping from these levels, maybe correcting for a moment. Yeah, McFlash, I know you guys miss seeing my beautiful face, my absolutely stunning physique. No. The most important thing are the charts here. I like to put the the camera on just to build that connection with you guys to realize like, hey, I'm just a regular guy, you know? Oh, Sebastian, if you're still in here, we can take a look at coin. I like to look at what Bitcoin is doing before I look at coin, but let's just look at coin. Ooh, you're building, you're building, you're building. 2 hour crossing up. This is a great, oh, this is great. You're about to see a big move from coin. I know it's in red. I'm gonna do this. I think that's more what we're looking at. Look for the break up, the breakdown. Right now it's saying it's gonna break up. 4 hour confirmation would be great. Maybe even a 3, but a 4 would be great. 2 hours giving you the first inclinations. You break that, the 4 hour crosses, you got yourself a little swing. Watch out for a trap, okay? Watch out for a trap, but if that doesn't make the divergence there and just keeps going, looking good. Trump. Stunning, my boy. That dude Chris, man, I tell you. That dude Chris. Chris with a K. Never trust a Chris with a K. Never. Okay? You wanna learn about trading stocks? All right, never trust a Chris with a K. GME, yeah, the base on the 30-minute. That's what I was kind of looking at. The 2 hour looks like it wanted to cross up. We're seeing some trying to base out. Looks like the 30-minute might cross up here. Watch for rejection at the 5, though. You're below the 5 now. This is completely different, right? When you're above the 5, you use the 5 to head higher, head higher, head higher. Lose the 5. Now you might use it to head lower, head lower, head lower, and we'll see what happens. We'll see. I haven't even seen momentum confirm up yet. Not even for the R. You're still in the oversold territory for the RSI. The one that I'm really interested in is what DJT does, because the signals here are pretty done, like as far as overbought goes. But the daily's just getting started, so I'm interested. You know I'm kidding with you, Chris. Is that Kris Jenner? Or a Jeff with a G, like Goff, Joff. You ever see Jeffs? They go by Jeff. It's like Goeff. Oh, SMCI, kind of failing it. This is the one to be a little cautious with. 2 hours got that divergence. You're starting to see the weakness come in. Chris, low-key sus, bro. Low-key. Like on the lowest, like the lowest of keys, pretty sus. Like on the lowest of keys, dude. I used to say that all the time, and I thought I was funny. I still say it, and I still think I'm funny. My wife doesn't. I think SPY is about to do that thing that you just said. Come down to here, curl back up, and then confirm down, or confirm a 2 hour right now, because volatility looks like it wants to pop off. I mean, if we just look at the SPY, we can see, okay, this 30 minutes, not the most weakness in the world, this could turn back up. So we need to be aware of that. But if we really read into, hey, if that 4 hour confirms up today for volatility, it's not looking too good. Which 5-minute indicator do you use? I don't really use a specific indicator for a 5-minute. Like Bollinger Bands, I more pay attention to with daily scale. But there's not necessarily something that I'd say, oh, the 5-minute is very useful with this select indicator. I don't really pay attention to that. I just use the same stuff. And 5-minute, you're going to see crazy shit. But it'll tell you probably when the 30-minute's going to fall. I like the 5-minute for that. If I see a triple divergence on the 5-minute, usually the 30-minute will fall. Yeah, you can just tell how much of a nerd I am, how much I've back-tested stuff, but look at this, triple divergence on the 5-minute, 30-minute falls. Triple divergence on the 5-minute, maybe even quadruple, but then it falls. A bunch of 5-minute divergence where everything's nonsense. Yeah, so you have more times where this can start to happen and you'll get really confused, but you can see Once you get by that center line, that's when it starts to be a little bit more, what is it? Reactionary, I guess. So yeah, little 5-minute triple divergences can help you see, hey, can the 30-minute cross down? I don't trust 15 minutes. I don't know why. 15 minutes have always, you know, when you come into technicals, you learn about divergence. Everyone talks about hourly and 15 minutes. And I was like, man, these things just, it's like 50-50. Is it going to play out or is it not? By blowing it up to a 30-minute and a 2-hour, I noticed that it makes things a little bit better and it makes the management of risk a little bit easier. Mana Potion, great name, by the way. Hateful Eight, I've never seen. Because Hateful Eight is that, yeah, I know what this is, right? Let me double check. Yeah, Hateful Eight, I've never seen it. I'm not the biggest, like, I don't even know if you'd consider it an action movie in some way. It's just not my style of movie. I don't know why. Oh, it got a good Rotten Tomatoes score, though. Maybe I'll give this one a chance. We need a good movie night over here. Let's see. Recent Civil War, Wyoming. Ooh, Civil War. Okay, cool. Hey, Rajesh, thank you so much for subscribing. Yeah, a lot of good things for Hateful Eight, apparently. Mana Potion. That is a great name. I'm gonna change all of my stuff now to Health Potion. Shogun was alright. Shogun was alright. I just couldn't get fully into it. Arcane I like. Not the biggest. Do you trade or invest? I do both. I mainly have been investing in TLT. Yeah, focusing more on TLT for my investment. Mainly trading, and I just let those investments run. I'm just trying to make sure TLT is going to base. We're not going to see some kind of collapse there, but TLT really looks like a pretty solid move here. We see these type of signals. I look at the daily and I go, okay, that thing confirmed up with divergence. So technically I am hanging on to this. I haven't seen anything to really convince me that it has to drop dramatically. And the weekly's about to turn up, so I am in TLT. But I just hold on to this, right? So I find key times to hold on to it. So that was, remember, when, if you're a part of this channel, we kept talking up here about 82.50. And that's where my buy order was. And then boom, and then I see some signals, I get out, I try to get back in, I got stopped out, well, pretty much management of the trade there. Then we get down to here, back in, then we get up here, back out, now we're in here, back in. See, I still trade like water with my investments, but they're nice and spaced out, so I have a lot of time to react in those a lot of the time, which is nice. Now I'm thinking about just holding this for the long haul here, especially if the weekly curls up. I'll probably just be holding that thing now. Yeah, investing more so. The reason I'm not investing in like stocks, if you will, is because they all look like this on the monthly scale, right? The time to invest is here, not here, not here, here. So I want to wait till one of those moments. I want to wait till there's consolidation in some way. And then I can invest. Like Nvidia. Do I want to invest here or here? Do I want to invest here or here? Well, now we're getting all these wicks to the upside, and yeah, we're getting some wicks to the down, but you're getting these wicks, and then we're seeing some reversal signals on the weekly. If this goes like that, that would be awesome, and I would invest. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the opportunities. You can really zoom out on things and just do that and save yourself. If you have a bunch of money, I would just do that. Like, you know, if I had a ton of money, like $1 million, I wouldn't be an options trader. It's too risky. Why? If you have the more money you have, the more you should actually be risk managed. But we trade to make money the fast way, which is the slow way. And then we get to a point where we can start to just invest, and then you can go live your life. Yeah, I like it a lot. No updates really for the SPY just yet. I do have to hop off in a little bit. Told you you're at the beginning of the bull run. Okay, here's something you guys need to know about vodka. My buddy owns a tequila company. I used to own a company that used to show restaurant specials on an app. Like, that was my business before COVID. COVID ruined it. All right. Here's what you need to know about vodka. Who can name the flavor of vodka? There are differences in vodka, but who can know? Who knows the difference in flavor of vodka? Potato. Perfect answer. Potato. Perfect answer. So here's the thing about vodka. Do you know what vodka technically like means? I think it legit means this in another language or something. Yeah, so my buddy who owns the tequila company, wow, SMCI, good thing we were paying attention to that. Watch out, that might cross town, that might get uglier. So my buddy, he said like, I don't know if it's like what he was saying, but in the alcohol world, the big alcohol companies, he has very nice tequila with no added ingredients or anything like that, just all 100% agave. It's called Una Vida. I would look it up. It is fantastic. It is my favorite tequila, and I love margaritas. But and maybe we could reach out to him. Maybe if you guys like tequila, we could reach out to him. He'd be good to talk to. He's a fun guy. Vodka technically is just flavorless alcohol. Like, and people, you'll look up stuff and they'll say there's flavor, there's this, there's that. But it's just the reason that he even is making a vodka right now is because he knows that vodka sells and it's very easy to do because it doesn't really have a flavor. So pretty much if you're spending a load of money on vodka, like, I get it because of how it's distilled, but more so if you're mixing it in any way and so my question would be this to your cousin: did he mix the alcohol? Did he mix the alcohol? Because if you are mixing the alcohol, then there's absolutely no point in spending over what, $30 for a bottle, $40 for a bottle. Okay, thoughts. Why don't we all just wait to see what Warren Buffett is buying publicly and pounce on the same? Okay, here you go. Got it. Got it. Now, when do you think, we were talking about potential investments. When do you think this could become a good investment? Maybe soon. Maybe soon. Let's look at the weekly. Maybe the weekly has a little bit more time, but we have daily divergence down here. The weekly could turn up. Hey, the monthly has a chance to turn up there. The monthly turns up. Good investment. So you're talking about a longer term play. This could still take another 3 months to cross up. And then after that, it would be a good 12 to 24 month hold. And who's to say if it's Warren Buffett, it's probably a good 20-year hold at that point. Just letting you know, Oxy. Isn't that the thing everyone was talking about? All right, 2 hour for the SPY. Let's go through some of this real quick just to see. We don't necessarily have confirmation on the 2 hour. Something you need to be aware of today is the 30-minute. RIP Munger, man. The 30-minute can get down towards the 5-day. We can get down towards the daily expected move and see one more move up. We just need to be aware of something if this is not going to happen, and that would be volatility. If volatility can turn down here, okay, maybe we do see that 30-minute move up and we make another divergence point really close to the center line. If we don't make that, maybe we keep squeezing. But the 2 hour has confirmed that we're rejecting now off of the 5. The daily has not curled up yet. That one does have some signals in here, but the thing I'd be paying attention to is the 4 hour. The 4 hour really clears it up. When that crosses up, most likely we see volatility come back into this market, and we're going to see the SPY confirm the opposite signal down. There's a lot that can happen before that confirms, though, just so you are aware. Yeah. Yeah, and I get it. It is a little bit annoying. That's why it's like, hey, just something good is like looking at the bigger picture and looking at the bigger time frames. If I'm sitting there trying to do 5 minutes and then, you know, I notice there's a big move up and then we go sideways. And then after hours, big move up and then we go sideways, or maybe a little bit down and then turn back. It's like, okay, if I'm doing that all the time and that's annoying to me, I'm just gonna, you know, blow up the time frames, look at a 4 hour on volatility, look at a 4 hour on the SPY and say, when's the corrective move most likely to happen? Well, when that 4 hour divergence on the SPY clicks and when that 4 hour positive divergence on the VIX clicks at the same time, that's the most likely time we're going to experience a little bit bigger drop. And then we'll see. Tesla is overall at resistance. I think that's a good one to talk about. The 2 hour for Tesla is one to pay attention to. If that drops, you might start to see volatility turn up on that 4 hour. We might start to see the SPY curl down on the 4 hour. Okay, so the first inclination of this is the 2 hour dropping. Now, the 2 hour dropping doesn't mean it has to be the 4 hour crossing as well, but it is a good sign that that's probably going to happen. Investing is good short Fridays. Yeah, if you have, even if you have like a regular job and you have over $100,000 saved, you can start investing now, and in 10 years that could be worth a lot more. You just want to make sure you're paying attention to the timing of it. Right, Oxy turns up on a monthly chart. You're going, hey, the timing's there. They pay a dividend, right? Like, I'm pretty sure they pay a dividend too. Dividend 1.75%. So you'll at least get a dividend. You see decent daily signals. Hasn't fully played out yet. You could find another buying opportunity, but if you're planning on investing, do you really care if this goes like this and then goes like that and then you have another opportunity? You know, we do this, we do that. I think you're likely to turn up the weekly here, and then you got to see if that's able to hold, cross up on the monthly. That would be the good opportunity, I think. And yeah, good to pay attention to IWM. Thank you for bringing it up. Daily scale turning down. 4 hours here on IWM, 4 hours on DIA, 4 hours on SPY, 4 hours on the Qs. You have 4 hour across the board. You have 4 hour in the opposite direction for volatility, all at the same time. So this is a time to really be aware. We can experience a drop. We can see easily how that could trap people at a daily expected move on a 30-minute. But if that 4 hour is able to cross, that's probably a little bit more. That's probably going to end up down towards a weekly expected move at least. If you break that, that's when things get real troublesome. If you break that and you don't make divergences down here in any way, that's where it gets ugly. Okay, that's where weeklies can start to cross. Just be careful with it. All right, guys, I do have to hop off. I hope we gave out some good things to pay attention to throughout your day. Right now, we haven't even lost the 5, so I wouldn't just get too bearish just yet. We still have the opportunity to hold up right here, hold up right here. If that can curl up, we can see more positivity. If the 4 hour starts to confirm down, 2 hours starts to confirm down first, then the 4 hour, that's when you should be a little bit worried. All right, thank you guys so much for joining today. I really do appreciate it. I'm sorry that I won't be able to put out a lot on YouTube today. If I can, I'm going to at least try to cover the SPY and the Qs later to get you guys the daily expected moves. That just might be a short video, so make sure you have notifications on and you're ready to go. Short Fridays, thank you so much for the $5. Jackal, thank you for the $1.99. And Rajesh, thank you for subscribing. Thank you guys for always giving back to the channel. That is fantastic, and I really do appreciate it. My family appreciates it. I always end up taking my wife out to a nice dinner or something like that when you guys do that. So thank you so much for that. It really is, it makes me feel good to know, like, hey, my information is helpful enough that people are willing to give their hard-earned money, and I do respect the fact that it is your hard-earned money. So thank you so much for that. I hope you guys have a great day. Good luck with your trading. Trade like water, manage risk, and you will be just fine. Peace out.